Hi there, 8th grade. Today we're doing 1.3, subtracting integers. Okay. Objective. Today's objective is to subtract integers from another integer to adding to its opposite. Writing and solving equations involving subtraction integers to solve real-world problems. At this point, if you want to do your power up, I would stop right now. Pause it, I'm moving on. Alright, here's the first one. What we are going to do today is called add by the opposite. When I speak of add by the opposite, we are going to make this adding, and if we make this adding, we have to change the sign here. So now we have -3 plus a -5, or -2, which will give me a -5. Okay? Here we're going to change the sign. We change the sign. We also made this adding. We've changed the sign behind it. That becomes a +2. So now we get -1. Okay, the reason that this works is if I have -3 minus -2, okay, alright, let's go with the bottom one, because that one changes and makes it easy. Or we want to go with 2. So if we had -2 minus 2, we know that's -5. If I change the sign and I make it add plus a negative, I still get a -5, right? Get the same thing? Either way I do it, and you know how to do it this way, even with just subtraction, but in this case, now we're just adding by the opposite to make sure that our signs are correct. That is probably the biggest thing about doing it this way, is just making, okay, I know if I add this together, I get this. Adding has a lot clearer views. Now when you're doing like the opposite of the opposite, it gets to be a little bit more confusing. So we are going to add by the opposite today. And that's what I did here, and that's what I did here. Okay. Jocelyn has a checking balance of $1,286, and then she mails in and receives a rebate check for $25. So you're going to be adding $25 to your account, because that is money. And then a utility bill for $128. She deposits the rebate and writes a check for the bill. Write an equation to solve this. Minus 128. Now I change this to minusing it. I can do it any way I want. If I add these two together, I'm going to get 1301. Oh, it'd be 11. 1311 plus a -128, which is the same as subtracting 128. That's going to give me 3. It's going to give me 10. That's 8. That's 2. That is how much money Jocelyn has in her account after all said and done. Okay, this is something we've been looking at for a while now. Adding and subtraction with two integers. To find the sum of added-ins with different signs, you subtract the absolute value of the added-ins, and then you make the sign of the added-ins with the greater absolute value. To find the sum of added-ins with the same sign, you add the absolute value of the added-ins, take the sign of the added-ins. Subtraction, instead of subtracting a number, add its opposite, and then you go back to the top of these rules, and you can go through it. That is it. Do your written practice. That will be part of your homework. You can check that with me when you're done with it, and we will move on. There is your homework.